guys, it's Jackie with Intoxicating Arts, and today I'm showing you this MINC mini bundle by American Crafts. It comes in a plain craft box just like this. It's meant for online sale only. So the cool thing about it is it comes with a few little extras that you wouldn't get if you just bought it in a regular retail store. So I do have some of these available for sale, and I decided to keep one for myself. So I thought I would make a video and just kind of show you guys what is in here and using it for the first time. I have not used it at all. I did open the box and see what was in there, but I'm using it for the first time. This is the owner's manual, and you'll want to hold on to that because it shows you what different numbers on the machine you should use for different materials. And you can do everything from like just a thin piece of paper to a lightweight chipboard. This is the carrier sheet, and it's about 6 by 12 inches, and that's the size you get for the MINC Mini. And this is the bag of the extra little goodies that come with the machine in this particular bundle. So they give you some pieces that are already coated in that toner so you can run it through with your foil. And this bag has a bunch of like tiny little stars, and there's some like plus signs, some arrows, and some like little tiny sayings in there. So that's really cute. And then you get a yard of white baker's twine. And you also get some little chipboard pieces. They call them Insta Frames. And I think they hold a 3 by 3 picture. And so there's like a little stack of those in there. And those are so cute. I'm going to have to figure out a way to use those. I don't normally use like pictures or anything, but I'm going to figure something out so I can use those. And you also get 2 of these gold tone bulldog clips. Again, something I wouldn't normally use, but I'm going to figure it out. Because in addition to that, you get these great pieces of paper that are already coated, ready to go. And I think there's 6 of them in here, but we'll figure it out. I'm pulling them out right now. And I think they're just wide enough that you could get maybe 2 card fronts out of them. I did cut one in half, and I noticed that the other half was not quite big enough for a card front. But if you maybe put a border around it, it would be big enough. So you have the polka dots, the plus signs, a lattice pattern, some stripes, and some diagonal lines. So I think that was 6, yeah. So they're pretty nice size, as you can see. And it's nice to get that thrown in as extra. In addition to that, you get 2 different foils. There's a gold and a silver. And when I was reading the description of this bundle, I could have sworn it said that it was about 6 by 5 inches of foil. But as I was playing with mine, I noticed that when I was pulling the foil off, more and more just kept coming. So I think one of those measurements was actually feet. And I will look into that to be sure. And then, of course, lastly, you have the machine itself. So I'm just going to unpackage that out of all, because it has some plastic around it. And you have a nice long cord here. So this is what it looks like after I get all the plastic off. You can see it has the gold button in the middle and all of the different numbers with their lights. And it's decorated with the gold dots and the Heidi Swap logo. You have a slot in the front for your material to feed through. On the back, you have a power button. You have this button, which I have not figured out what does yet because I haven't needed to use it. Maybe I did, but I just didn't know, so I haven't used that button yet. The cord has a 2-prong plug on it, which I love because I'm always fighting over space in the power strip in my craft room, and if anything has a 3-prong plug, that kind of causes me problems. So I love that it's a 2-prong, and the cord is a pretty nice length too. So the project that I'm working on today is a Monster High card for my niece. That's a theme for her birthday, and her name's Jordan, but we call her JoJo. And so I just printed these out on my toner printer, and I'm going to turn the machine on here so it can start to heat up, because you need to wait for it to heat up before you try to run anything through it. and then cycle through to the number that you think you want to use. And in this case, I thought 4 would be good because it says uncoated cardstock. And your light is just gonna sit there and blink for a little bit. So I'm looking up, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do now? I think I'm supposed to wait for the light to blink, and I'm just confirming the number that I should use. But you can also see number 3 says lightweight uncoated paper and heavyweight coated paper. So I probably could have used 3 on this, which I do switch over to the number 3, and it worked both ways. I guess 4 might have been overkill just because my cardstock was maybe an 80 pound. It wasn't very thick. So I probably did not need to use the 4. So right there you can see the light turned green and solid, which means it is all heated up and ready to go. So I'm going to cut down all of my pieces so I can have them at a reasonable size to feed through the machine. And I'm just gonna cut them all down right now, and you can cut them down small if you need to. So like you can see the skulls right there are kind of like really skinny, but that's not a problem at all. And I had 2 different fonts here because I wasn't sure, you know, if I'd run into any problems. So I really wanted to use the one that I just pulled right there that has kind of that scratchy looking font. When you're pulling your foil out, make sure to put that tape from the packaging over like that because you don't want it to get stuck on your foil. I'm going to start off with this silver color foil here, and it does have this little sticker on it to keep the foil together, which I sat there and I struggled with it for quite a while because I just painted my nails before I made this video, which was a terrible decision because that made getting the foil off of this roll even harder. So the tape is really sticky and it was not fun getting it off. I really hope that they change that. But it was probably even worse because I just painted my nails. So I was trying to like not mess up my nails, and I was also trying to not get any indentations in the foil because I was worried about messing up some of the foil. But in the end, it actually worked out just fine because I was able to get it off, and even though it left this kind of crinkly spot in the foil, it did not cause any problems at all. So now that I got the foil free, it's really lightweight and it moves around easily. I'm just going to cut off the piece that I need for my project. And you want to make sure that when you're cutting this, that it's going to be big enough to overhang whatever area you're going to run through, just to be safe and make sure that your project doesn't get messed up because you were trying to be frugal with your foil. So just put your foil on it and then put that in your carrier sheet. The foil does have kind of a static electricity type of bond going on with the carrier sheet. You'll notice here that when I put it in there, the carrier sheet kind of just grabs it, and that's actually a good thing because then you know it's not going to like slide around all over the place. So I'm just going to close up that carrier sheet. I did read somewhere that you're supposed to make sure it doesn't have any wrinkles in it, but that's kind of impossible, and don't worry about it. If it looks like it has wrinkles, it's not going to cause you any problems. And when you put it through the machine just senses that it's there and it grabs it and it starts to run it through. So I'm just playing this in real time for you so you can see, you know, how long it takes. It's not particularly slow, but it's also not particularly fast. And you'll see this is coming out the other end with all these crinkles on it, and I kind of started to get worried, like, oh no, did I mess up? And is this, you know, am I going to have to move on to my other font that I had? So it kind of started to worry me, but I was like just crossing my fingers, hoping that it would be okay. And when it's coming out the other end, you want to make sure that you have enough room for it to come out. So in my case, I had my laptop in the way, so I just put my hands there to kind of guide it and help it up. You definitely do not want to pull on it just be patient and wait for it to pop out the other end. And you'll know because it'll stop pushing it. So I'm just patiently waiting for it to come out here, and it's almost done. And there we go. So now I can pull that off and show you guys what it looks like. My first time ever using this machine. I didn't really read the manual. I just kind of looked to see like, hey, what number should I use? So, and you just pull it right off. There's no burnishing it down. No, you don't have to be careful about it at all. You just pull it right off. And it came out really good. You will see in a second an area that got foil on it that I didn't intend foil to be. So first I'm just kind of showing, I mean, this is a pretty detailed font, and you can see that it picked it up in every single spot. I don't have any black toner left on there showing through whatsoever. So the results are great. I did get this weird shininess on the edge here where there shouldn't have been any foil. So I thought maybe I shouldn't have used the number 4 and I should have used the number 3 setting. So when I move on to my other pieces for this project, I do end up changing the setting to a number 3. But before I do that, I was like, I gotta figure out something to do with this leftover foil because there is a ton of foil on here, and maybe I can do something else for her card. So I grabbed one of those pieces of paper that came with the machine that's already coated, and I figured I would just put that right over top it and see what happens. I didn't really have high hopes for this, especially because it did have all those creases in it, so I wasn't really sure what to think. But I ran it through anyways, and this is what it looks like. So you're left over with that as your not the carrier sheet, but it's the carrier sheet for the foil itself. And the camera really has a hard time focusing on this because it's so shiny. It doesn't really know where it's supposed to go, and it's just reflecting all of the light in my room. But basically what happened is I got pretty decent coverage, except for those 2 major creases that were in there. That kind of messed it up. So, and it's really hard to read the sentiment because it's so tiny. You could probably do this with a sentiment that is more bold. So anyways, I just wanted to show you my little try at that and the results from it. So I think if you're going to use one of these papers, it's best to just use it with a clean piece of foil rather than what I did. So right here I have a piece of hot pink foil. I just ran to Joann's real quick and picked this up because I knew I wanted the bow on the skulls to be pink. So I'm just cutting a piece of that out and cutting some of the silver. So here you can see I just unrolled it and it just kept going and going and going, and I didn't even go all the way to the end. So there is definitely a lot of foil on there. At first it looks like there isn't, but it's so thin that there's actually quite a bit. So I decided that I would run these through at the same time because I didn't want to have to wait twice for it to do its really long, lengthy, because this folder is actually about 12 inches long, and I'm always doing card projects, so I might just actually cut it down. So you can see these came out great, and that's on the 3 setting. Again, I think this is probably an 80-pound cardstock, so it's probably better to run it through on a 3 setting. It came out great, so I love it. And then I have these negatives if I can figure something out to do with it, but I don't really know how often I'm going to need Monster High things. So here I cut out the bow off of one of those, and then I cut the skull out, and I just did some foam adhesive and popped it right on there. And I'm keeping this card extremely simple because the main eye catcher about it is the fact that it has all this shiny foil on it, and I was also really running out of time to get this done. So I just put the little skull up there, and that is all there is to the front of the card. I did end up adding this big pink skull on the inside, and then I wrote my little message to her. So I hope this video has helped you kind of understand the MINC machine. I know there's a lot of MINC videos out there, but the only reason that I really wanted to make this video is so you guys could see what comes specifically in this bundle, because it's a great deal. It normally retails for $99 and I have it for sale for $75, and you get $5 flat rate shipping, and you can actually add other things onto your order from our store and the shipping will still be $5, because anytime you go over $40 it's $5 flat rate shipping. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed using this MINC machine, and I know I'll use it more. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.